This is the Australian Supreme Novice Championship at Geelong Showgrounds. And out on the Novice Arena, we have Sean O'Leary with Elliott's Mumu. And the sheep are out, and Mumu's already cast off there around the back of the sheep. Just overrun them a little bit there. But it looks to bump them down pretty straight. It's only a short cast on this Novice Arena. There's also the open arena going on at the Showgrounds, in which Sean and Mumu had a run and scored 69. So let's see how they do on this Novice Arena. Sean's got a nice distance there on the sheep, but you can see they're still winding around nicely around that casting peg. And you can see Mumu, who's only a little dog, just tucking down there, just moving around when needed, and she's just blocked them off there, and most likely just want to bring them back into the corridor before Sean walks off, not letting him go too far, which she's done there, and Sean's walked off. Be walking up to the gap and just wanting to control the sheep as they walk up, keep them within a 9 metre distance from him and centered in that corridor as they go up to the gap. And you can see little Mumu with her pace coming around the back just to bump the sheep on, move them up. Sean's now sent them off, Mumu off to the top of the sheep, cover them so they don't push up to the back up to the let out area. Mumu's just had a look back at the let out yard there, just checking in with the crew, making sure she's doing the right thing, and then she's back on the sheep. So it's nice work here so far. It looks pretty clean. Mumu's in the right position. Even though she's got a good distance on them, she's still got control over those sheep. And Sean's just positioning her just to keep that cover on the sheep as he gets into the set position. And he'll be wanting to now just bring her around behind the sheep, just enough to move them forward, but not put too much pressure on them that will make them run. We have seen a lot of the sheep very quick to run off the dogs here at Geelong. So Sean will be aware of that, and he'll just want to push them up slowly. Just holding them there. He's going to send Mumu around as the sheep look to go around that far side. And she's just blocked off their heads and turned them in through the gap there. So it was nice work. She's got that pace where she can just get and cover the sheep very quickly, and so keeping her at a distance is working well here. So Sean will just make sure that they're set, wait for the sheep to turn their head towards the race before he walks off, and then just bring in Mumu to put a little bit of pressure on them to move them off their stationary position. You can see Mumu's come in tight there. The sheep look like they're turning back on her, so she's just come in and just give them a little punch there to move them along, and then push back out to keep that distance. So it's beautiful work by Mumu there. Just putting the pressure on when needed to move them, and then getting out at a nice distance. And you can see her there just getting into the right position to allow the sheep to keep walking, but being at their head so that she can cover them so they don't take off too fast. And Sean's just pushed her a bit further as the sheep just picked up some pace there. And he'll probably look to bring her back. Yes, he is. Bring her back just to take that pressure off and just move them along, allow them to walk off the dog. And just keep Mumu on that shoulder. She just looks like she's got that natural ability to get to the head and then sit on the shoulder, and Sean's just placed her around to the head there. Hold them at the race until he gets into that set position so that he can then work on moving them through the obstacle. For the obstacle to count, the handler has to be in that set position before the sheep go through the obstacle. If the sheep go through that obstacle before the handler's in that set position, they'll have to redo the obstacle. So Sean and Mumu have held them nicely there and then brought them around, taking that pressure off to bring them back. And Mumu's just got up and covered them off there. It's a pretty tight marker into the next corridor at the back of that race, but it looks like they've brought them in there, so I haven't lost any points on that obstacle. And they'll be moving across to the bridge. It looks like a very clean run so far. So if Sean and Mumu keep it clean, they should get a decent score in this novice run. But as we know in 3 sheep trials, anything can happen. So Sean's just wanting Mumu to push them up because it looks like they're being left behind a little bit. Depends on the angle the judge is seeing and whether they've left behind more than that 9 metres, whether he'll deduct the points. Judge Bill Davidson just going around the outside there, and look, even with that distance, Mumu's just nudged them enough and they've walked up naturally and nicely through. So that makes that obstacle look easy. But I think it was just the patience there from Sean and Mumu and just taking that time to line them up. And Mumu's just come around there and cover them again. Again, there's a marker for the next laneway, which is pretty tight on that bridge. So the handlers will want to get their dogs to bring the sheep into the corridor pretty quickly. And Mumu's have to make a lot of distance here to get back around to the top side. And that's just to hold the sheep in that corridor so they don't push back up to the let-out area. And again, just moving across the arena there, just moving forward, just trying to stay on that shoulder. She just got a bit ahead of the sheep, so just turned them back. So Sean's just brought her back there to, yeah, she's getting to the head of the sheep there, so that's making them turn back. Sean will want to watch Mumu doing that, and just be careful they're not going outside, or they've just gone outside the laneway there, so but they look like they're coming back, and so Sean just called Mumu back and just brought her back to that top side. Would have lost a point there just going outside the laneway, but apart from that, it's looked like a very clean run. Let's see here now. So again, Sean just working to get into the set position. The sheep are just out of the corridor, so it's probably another point lost on this side. And now Sean will want to be keeping it clean here and getting Mumu just to nudge them into the mouth of that pen. Not letting them walk backwards. If they walk backwards, the judge will deduct another point. So Mumu's just headed them off. She just has to cover both sides here because they look like they're going to go around that outside. And she's covered them nicely there and they've just walked in. So Sean's just bringing Mumu up, just making sure they're settled. And he's walking in to shut the gate. That looks like a very clean run from Sean and Mumu. Well done.